Hello and welcome to a 2v2 on Semoskiy Summer. This game is going to be Omni and Sorceleur versus Lemon and Fuzzy. Omni and Sorceleur playing as mixed allies. We have Americans and Soviets, of course, in the West base, and ever since the most recent patch, as you probably know, the base positions are fixed. So the Allies are always in the West base, and the Axis are always in the East base. And I don't actually know if that was an intended change. It wasn't listed in the patch notes, as far as I'm aware. But it's a change, and it's just the way the game is now, so something that we have to live with, for better or worse. Omni is going with a rear echelon and rifle start, and then going straight into a fighting position right here on the road. So it looks like he will be defending against an early Kuba wagon. We also have the supply half-track making its way forward, but it looks like there probably isn't any intention of using it for pushing infantry around, or possibly he is going to be scouting with it.
Position's good to go.
And that is Lemon playing as the Oberkommando West, and Fuzzy will be playing as the Ostherr. So it is mixed allies versus mixed axis. All four factions will be represented in this game. We actually have a squad taking the fuel, but then circling back down towards the middle so that they can make a full push towards the center without dedicating even a single squad to capturing other parts of the map. So it looks like this area is going to be used to set up a battle group headquarters. It's already being constructed by the looks of things, so he is going to be purchasing that extremely soon. And one of the suggested fixes to truck pushing is to delay the arrival of the truck to about 2 minutes into the game. But as you can see, he's already building it in the field at 2 minutes. So this is one of the reasons that fix may not be the best option. But I'm not sure about it myself. We actually have two rear echelon troops being sent into the church here. We do have the Stern Pioneers being forced back to reinforce, but the battle group headquarters will be completing very soon. That's an extremely early battle group headquarters. That will be his third purchase, his first being a Volksgrenadier and his second being this Kuba wagon right here. The fighting position is in a moderately far back position. It is positioned such that it can fire grenades on the church should it be garrisoned, so I think that's a pretty good move. Kuba wagon is going to have difficult pushing infantry back with all of these buildings in the area. But I think the Allies are really going to struggle to push back this position until they have AT guns. So even just 3 minutes into the game, the Axis already have a front line that's going to be extremely difficult to push back. Especially when you're investing so heavily in rear echelon troops and fighting positions. That's a lot of manpower that you don't have for frontline infantry. There's actually not very much suppression here either, other than the Kuba wagon, because the Ostherr player has gone with nothing but grenadiers. Conscripts trying to take control of this strategic point. Meanwhile, on the flanks, it looks like Lemon has pretty good control. No allies have been sent down to the munitions up here, and we do have the allies in control of the north munitions point. No Axis troops have even been sent to back at this point yet, so they're still trying to make sure that they're secure in the center of the map. Grenadiers moving over to the side. Conscripts oorahing towards the Kuba wagon, but getting a little bit confused, I think, there. I'm not sure what that was all about. Sorceleur has researched anti-tank grenades and Molotovs. I believe he was trying to go for an AT grenade, and if he hadn't messed up his pathing there so badly, I think that Lemon would have lost his Kuba wagon. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out that way. Made a little mistake, I think. MG42 is finally going to hit the field, and it's going to start suppressing some conscripts over here. He's going to crawl away and try to capture that strategic point. Meanwhile, over here, we finally have a decent-sized force of riflemen moving towards the center, getting focused down pretty hard by this blob of grenadiers, though. 3 grenadier squads, one of which is in the house. Taking pretty heavy damage on this one. I think he's probably watching it. Yeah, he's watching it. And he does get it out of there.
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
And I think that this engagement will be going to the Axis soon. Things are sort of turning in their favor. It is the 5-minute mark, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a light vehicle from the Americans soon. Yes, there it is. We do have a utility car hitting the field. He rushed that right out, and it looks like he's also gone airborne. We do have Pathfinders hitting the field, and they are probably going to be moving up to place some beacons, provide line of sight, and possibly also get a few kills with their snipe ability. M20 makes its entrance, and immediately gets a kill on the Stern Pioneer squad. If we take a look, you'll see he is upgrading it with armored skirts. So there he goes with that upgrade. Lemon was rather slow to react with his Kuba wagon, not reacting at all. In fact, he was just going to let it die, as far as I can tell. But I'm not sure what this utility car is doing, moving away from the Kuba wagon instead of chasing it. He could have easily gotten a kill there. I guess he was a little bit intimidated by all that machine gun fire. It actually did a pretty good job penetrating. Oh, he actually got Fausted up here in the north. I don't think there are any units nearby to follow up, though, so I believe that was a waste of munitions there. That Grenadier is not going to be able to finish off that utility car. The Lieutenant is moving up into this green cover position, and he will not be able to kill that full Pioneer squad by the look of things, and he will be struggling against these machine guns in green cover as well. A Molotov did get thrown on this MG34, but Lemon is making good use of his battle group headquarters here, his defensive position, and reinforcing in combat. And of course, there's absolutely no way that the Lieutenant is going to be able to win this fight over a sustained period of time, as he gets bled for manpower and health, and they just keep reinforcing and reinforcing. And we also actually have a half-track hitting the field, which I think is a little strange. They already have a forward reinforce point. Maybe he intends to use it for transportation or something. Pathfinders are positioned in the church, so that should give the Allies very long sight range. Yeah, so they can all see all the way out here. I think that might be even further than you can normally see with just a regular unit in the church. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that at all. Probably. Mortars being fired. It looks like the Soviet produced a standard mortar. If we take a look at the Soviets' doctrine choice, we will see shock rifle, which is the KV-8 and IS-2 and shock troop doctrine. And this wall is just gonna be really difficult to penetrate. I think the mortar is probably a good idea. It'll bleed manpower, but it won't be enough to really do anything too severe, as long as I just keep reinforcing. But it's something. Small push going up here toward the north. It looks like a 222 is attempting to hunt the M20 utility car. I'm not sure if Omni has been planting any mines. I don't see any, really. Yeah, I don't see any mines. I don't think he has. If we take a look at his munitions, yeah, he definitely has, and he has 120 munitions. He did purchase armored skirts, so I think that there's no way he would have had that much munitions if he had been planting mines. Something he should probably consider. A 222 is not the best target you can destroy with a mine, but it's certainly not bad. It's nice to get that off the field. Grenade getting thrown by Lemon. And the most recent hotfix did actually add a 20% munitions penalty, or not a 20% penalty, but rather the income was reduced to 80% of what it used to be, I guess. Shock troops hitting the field. Nice grenade. Ooh. I think Lemon might have been a little bit late to retreat there. Maybe not, actually. I'm not sure if being on the retreat actually affects how much grenades deal to you anyway. I think it would have been the same regardless. Just a little bit late to react to that grenade. Took pretty nasty damage. That MG42, however, is being moved up to prevent any pushes by those shock troops, and of course they do basically 0 damage at medium or long range. So he's not going to be able to push in and try and wipe any squads. Although this tight sort of corridor area is a very nice pathway for assault infantry, especially on a base that's set up right here. If you can find an opening, of course, with that machine gun right there, that could prove difficult. But then again, shock troops can, of course, throw smoke grenades, so something to consider. Rear echelon troops with a bazooka, actually, if they're going into the church. Immediately ejected, though, as a large blob of Over Commander West troops makes its way towards him. And the utility car actually has 6 kills now, and is up to Vet 1, so that's good to see. Getting your utility car veterancy is important. Trying to keep it alive into the late game is important, because even though it's such an early game unit, it scales really nicely with its mines, and in particular against Axis Elite infantry. which have particularly small squad sizes, and if you can get it vetted quite quickly, usually one burst will kill one or two models from those squads, or at least half a model, and that can be really effective against elite infantry squads that don't have any anti-tank ability, such as Obersoldaten. It makes a very nice counter to harassment by those infantry. Fallschirmjäger as well. Shock troops taking heavy damage and suppressed. Pathfinders being moved into the house here, and the Allies are not really fielding any very effective solutions to this defensive line. We actually finally do have a ZIS moving up. It would be good to see the ZIS use attack ground to fire through the bushes and destroy the battle group headquarters, or possibly use the high explosive barrage to destroy the hedges and give it a line of sight. Either one of those would probably be a good option. Actually, I think the battle group headquarters placement here is not very good. It's actually not very difficult for the Allies to set up an AT gun in a position that will be able to destroy it. In fact, that ZIS could easily take out that battle group headquarters from where it's positioned now. High explosive barrage is going out on this area, and I think the hedges may go down. Certainly a lot of cover is being destroyed. Looks like it was aimed more on where the Volksgrenadiers were standing and not really intended to destroy the line of sight blocker. Fighting continues, and once again it looks like the Axis does have the advantage, with some allied squads being led rather hard and being forced to make a retreat. If we take a look here, I believe Sorceleur does have medics, but he is purchasing them right now, and if we take a look at Omni, we'll see no ambulance yet. So healing is not something that they have had access to up until about the 12-minute mark of this game, whereas this battle group headquarters has been up from the very beginning. And the effects of that, of course, accumulated over the last 9 minutes or so, are really starting to show. With the manpower bleed and such, the Axis are really starting to pull ahead and push the Allies back. It's going to be up to the Allies to tech up and try to strike back a little bit with their vehicles. Fortunately, the utility car hasn't had that much of an impact. Hopefully we'll see some good mines later. We also do see paratroopers hitting the field, and they are pretty much the best elite infantry the Americans have access to, so hopefully he'll be making good use of those as well. 5-man squad immediately catches a Volksgrenadier squad, but I think Lemon noticed before Omni did, walking away, so he's actually taking a little bit of damage here without returning it. And finally they'll turn around and begin firing back. Already he's had 2 model losses, one from the actual paradrop and one from the fight. Fortunately, he's in an extremely spread out formation, so that grenade only inflicts 1 kill, but it's sufficient, I think, to win 11 that engagement, and the paratroopers make a retreat. Omni was very slow to react to that happening, by the way, so he must have been managing something else up here. We do have another engagement happening. We have Panzer Grenadiers and Grenadiers doing battle with a small force of American infantry. Pathfinder support. A pack is being moved up. Once the pack is in position, it's very difficult for Allied armor to push through. We also do see his rifles taking heavy damage here in this engagement. He needs to be careful there. That Panzer Grenadier squad could probably focus them down if he just turned around, but it looks like he would rather get back to his half-track to reinforce. Pathfinders, I think, are getting some pretty good snipes. They're actually up to 8 kills. It's not too bad compared to his riflemen. His riflemen, 2 and 8 kills as well, so his Pathfinders performing comparably. Not bad at all. With the most recent changes to bars, I should say, Pathfinders I think are actually pretty good, even as just standard infantry, because of how good they are at long range. Since bars are basically useless now, they make for a pretty decent squad in the early game, but of course they do fall off later, as all American infantry tends to do, except for paratroopers. The Axis force here is just very sustainable, and without something really hard hitting to dislodge these positions, they're not really going to make much headway. And they haven't really been concentrating very hard on the flanks, and because of that, the Axis have a really nice munitions income with this series of points and the munitions point down there. And of course the Axis also has victory point control, because the Allies just cannot take control of the center. Oh, Lieutenant Squad gets wiped by a nice grenade from Lemon there. Major actually came pretty close to getting taken out too. We do have a Scott on the field. No kills yet, but I think if the Axis continues to bunch up the way they have been so far, it should perform very nicely. But he will need to keep it out of range of the enemy pack. It should do very nicely against these Obers as well. Nice damage there. Some sort of artillery getting called in here. Probably an incendiary strike. He is shock rifle. Yep, there it is. Very nice damage there. Fortunately, Lemon has set his truck up in such a way that they retreat around to the south side of it, not the north end. I guess they can't retreat to the north end. So there's that. Still some casualties inflicted. Pathfinders are now hitting Vet 3, which is going to give them a very nice sight range. It's unfortunate that Omni's not taking advantage of his Major's ability to establish a retreat point. Finally, he is purchasing an ambulance, but I think 15 minutes into the game, maybe a little bit late. He is purchasing after his Scott. He didn't rush a Scott, he did purchase a utility scar, but he got the Scott very quickly. It looks like the pack is being repositioned to fire on this Scott, though. The utility car actually is circling around the north. Possibly to clear that pack. I think so. Although he's facing his rear. And oh, and a KV-8 hits the field and just dives straight in. Wow, look at that. A Faust does get the engine, and the Grenadier that fired it will make a retreat all the way back to base, and I think he'll get away. And I think that KV-8 should probably pull back for repairs before continuing the assault. There's a bunch of Panzerschrecks being mobilized to deal with it, and already this Panzerschreck squad is vet 4. Even 16 minutes into the game, it just vets up so quickly with that Panzerschreck. Every time it lands a shot, basically, it gets probably like half a bar of vet. Depending on the target, of course.
Okay, fire away.
That Kuba wagon is basically dead. And we do see that Lemon is taking advantage of the detection ability. If we take a look at Lemon's Fog of War, he does have access to a little bit of information about the enemy's movements on the minimap, but it's not much. It's something though, it's kind of a neat little ability. It's pretty much all the Kuba wagon is good for at this point in the game anyway. Scott not getting very many good shots here. Sometimes they just are not that reliable. I've also noticed that using the barrage makes it almost useless. See, that was an example of the barrage being used. I think its direct fire is just better in general than the barrage ability is for whatever reason. Couldn't tell you why. I think that was major artillery. Yes, it was. Didn't really do anything, as usual. Did destroy the building, though. Somebody mentioned on the forums today, actually, that that's pretty much the only thing major artillery is good for, is destroying buildings. It's the only thing you can really rely on it to accomplish. And I think for 120 munitions, it's not really worth it, but if you really need to destroy a building, that is something to consider. Main gun destroyed on the Scott, thanks to something. Possibly this Pack 43? Yeah, I think the Pack 43 got it. The Pack 43 does in fact one-shot M8A1, so the only reason he's alive right now is because he was lucky enough that the 5% chance of main gun destroyed or whatever being rolled rather than death. I think it's a 75% chance of death and then 5% of main gun destroyed and 5% engine destroyed and other things. That Pack 40 is firing and doing just massive damage. That KV-8 stands no chance, has to pull away. Battle Group Headquarters is still in a pretty precarious position. I'm surprised that the Allied AT guns have not been trying to destroy it this entire time. Dropping more high explosive barrages in this area, or even just using attack ground to fire through the hedgerow, would definitely go a long way towards destroying that, and that is pretty much the cornerstone of this Axis defense, is the ability to reinforce in the field right next to this Battle Group Headquarters. And I think that that's actually more major artillery being called in. Yes, it is. All of Omni's munitions are being wasted on this ability. Every time you use that, that's 2 M20 mines you could have planted. That's half a P-47 strike you could have called in. It's a set of paratrooper LMGs you could have purchased. It's just a terrible waste compared to all of the other great things that you could spend your munitions on, including well, that's not an American AT gun, but if it were, I would say including take aim and, of course, armor-piercing rounds. It looks like he hasn't dropped an AT gun for himself, something I would recommend doing because the American AT gun is excellent at destroying forward over-commando trucks, thanks to its incredibly long range once it hits Vet 1 and uses the take aim ability. These machine guns are starting to vet up pretty high. We actually, oh geez, we have a bit of a scouting attempt over here for the fuel, but I think that Jackson is not going to be very successful in destroying it. Sorceleur headquarters has really nice penetration against it. Jackson is now going to try to outrange it, but I believe a Panzer IV is going to show up. And this would be the perfect opportunity for that Jackson to bait the Panzer IV over an M20 mine, but he hasn't planted a single one. That's such a waste of his M20. If he had an M20 mine right there, that would be a dead Panzer IV right now. What a shame. Wow, the Kubo wagon actually got abandoned by something down here. It looks like Sorceleur made a push with his infantry, but I guess maybe he wasn't really watching his squads because they just got destroyed. Oh, his squad also just got taken out, probably by the Pak-43. Looks like it, one vehicle destroyed. Pretty sure that's what just happened here. Machine guns continuing to get free veterancy against his rifles that are just charging in. Another high explosive barrage going out. Looks like it will get away. We can see that the health of the gun is actually getting a little bit low. If we take a look at these Stern Pioneers, they're not really doing anything. I think it would be a good idea for Lemon to make sure that his guns get repaired. This one's still doing fine. But making sure that the gun doesn't get destroyed is just as important as watching the squad's health. It looks like we have an IS-2 hitting the field, moving up. The Panzer IV actually got destroyed over here, and now it looks like Lemon's Schwer Panzer headquarters is going to die. I don't think that there's any way for them to save this. They did do a nice job of preventing the fuel from being taken. It makes for a good sort of defensive position, but if it's the only thing defending, then this can happen, and that's going to be the end of Lemon's Schwer headquarters, so he won't be able to get a looks. I'm actually not sure if he was even intending to. Nah, definitely not. He has 290 fuel. He could have had it easily, way before this. I think he's almost certainly going for a Königstiger. The only reason he hasn't gotten 130 fuel ago, I guess, is because he's been bleeding manpower so bad. And one of the things to keep in mind with this strategy is that there's going to be some pretty significant manpower bleed with a constant reinforcement. But, not necessarily that big a deal, as long as he can manage to save up to 760 to bring in the King Tiger. So it looks like he hasn't actually purchased his mechanized regiment headquarters yet, so that is going to have to come first. And it looks like finally the Allied AT guns are making a coordinated effort to destroy the battle group headquarters. Good. Definitely good to see. The Pak has an incredibly high fire rate and damage, so it should have no problem taking that out. But of course, it needs to be screened from these Oversoldaten that are focusing it down. The KV-8 is just sort of letting it die. I guess he doesn't want to expose it to the Pak-43. Looks like he's actually going to enter the arc of fire. Here it comes. Ooh, that is just incredible damage. Not a bad fire rate either. Looks like it will get clear of the arc of fire though. Don't think Lemon's going to rotate. And meanwhile, just incredible bleed being inflicted on Lemon on his Oversoldaten here, and the headquarters is destroyed. And he's probably going to be forced to make a full retreat here. That IS-2 pulls off a nice flank on the Pak-43. And it's going to get cleared as well. There's still an abandoned crew wagon sitting right there. We do have a standard pack protecting the crossing, and the IS-2 is going to have to pull back. So finally, thanks to the might of Soviet heavy armor and also a stolen AT gun, the Allies were able to push the Axis out of the center after 25 minutes of hard fighting. That being said, this is going to give Lemon a chance to recuperate, let his manpower build up for a few minutes, and he'll almost certainly be spearheading his next, or maybe the push after this one, with a King Tiger. And there's not really anything defending here except for a pack and a machine gun and a half-track. And I think that the Allies could easily overrun that position with a coordinated push of all of their forces here. Lemon having been reduced to very few units, actually. A very small core of very highly vetted units, though. Still, I would definitely think repairing that machine gun when it's Vet 5 would be a very good idea. I also would think that a support package on those Pioneers would also help. He's probably going to have double Shreks on his Vet 4 folks as well, so pretty much all of his units are extremely effective in their role right now. We do have the Pack 40 also getting recruited. It's just about completely destroyed, but I think we will see some repairs going up on that. I don't actually know if it's possible for riflemen to use a rifle grenade on Pack 43, I guess. Wow, look at that incredible repair speed, though. Stern Pioneers are very fast at repairing. Not as... This is not even with the Vet 3 or support package bonuses. At Vet 3 and with a support package, they're basically the most... They're basically the best at repairing in the game. Jackson is leaving himself so vulnerable to that pack. What is he doing? He needs to get out of that arc of fire. Just wasn't paying attention, I guess, and he got killed. Shock troops moving up, throwing a grenade.
Enemy flanking us!
He actually rotated the pack to dodge the grenade fire. Did you see that? That was a cute little move. It didn't really matter. The shock troops destroyed the gun anyway, but that was that's something I've never seen before. That was kind of neat. Shock troops are just crushing everything in their path. The machine gun is not really set up very well to stop those shock troops. It's just staring straight at the truck. Oh, sniped by the pack, and the MG-34 will force the rest of the squad away. They are Vet 3 though, so pretty good effort by that squad of shock troops, I would say. If these riflemen crew the Pack 40, I think it'll probably do some pretty nasty damage to Lemon's Mechanized Regiment headquarters here, if he actually chooses to rotate it. What's he doing? There he goes. We also have a bit of an engagement happening over here. It's been happening for a while, I think, because it's a bit of a long-range battle between some Grenadiers and American infantry. It looks like Omni went with the Thompson package for his single paratrooper squad. We also have stolen MG-34 and a 50 cal as well being produced. So he actually the Pack 43 and a stolen pack. So he's done quite nicely at stealing Axis weapons. That's very important to the Americans to steal those weapons. Nice work destroying the Mechanized Regiment headquarters, as I thought the Pack 40 made pretty quick work of it. I think this Kubowakin is actually kind of like an ad hoc tank trap here. Vehicles will be forced to path around it, being a little bit annoying. IS-2 sitting idle in front of a Pack 40. Not really succeeding in destroying it. We do have artillery being called in here. I think that is going to be Lemon's artillery? Zeroing artillery? Yes. Zeroing artillery, very expensive. Incredibly effective, though. If you don't get out of the red circle, you're not gonna have a good time. Wow, that was nice damage from that pack and double Shrek squad. The zeroing artillery also technically hasn't ended, but I guess it's not falling right now for some reason. It doesn't matter. Oh! That was a bunch of stuff. That was the zeroing already continuing, I think. Or possibly also major already? No? That was the zeroing already. I think he just hit himself with zeroing already. And of course the incendiary strike. That was weird. Tiger Ace hitting the field. Oh jeez. So I don't think I saw any indication that there was going to be a Tiger Ace. I didn't see any G43s. We did see Panzer IVs, which is actually a pretty good indication because a lot of times you'll skip tier 3 if you're just going to bring in regular Tigers. But we didn't see any usage of elite troops that I can remember anyway. I guess it's possible that he's been using it on these Grenadiers. It's harder to keep track of in a 2v2 than in a 1v1. Still, with 200 fuel to spare, I'm somewhat surprised to see that get called in. I would think that it would make sense to save up your fuel a little bit. Or save up your manpower a little bit more and finish spending your fuel before calling in a Tiger Ace so that you have a stronger force of medium armor to support. Target weak point going out on IS-2 on this push here. We also have Lemon's King Tiger finally hitting the field. We have a small force of American infantry moving up, but the King Tiger is probably going to prove too much. One Jackson and a P-47 strike just aren't really doing that much. The IS-2 does get taken down, and this charge of American infantry is futile. It's doomed to fail. Jackson moving up to take some shots. We actually have 2 Jacksons here. I think this Jackson may have used armor-piercing rounds. Yes, it did. Possibly one more volley. Miss. And it looks like the American is going to be forced to pull back after that. We have another IS-2 here in the middle, though, doing quite nicely. Inflicting pretty heavy damage on the enemy's infantry. 22 kills already on infantry squads and 1 vehicle destroyed. But that Vet 5 Volk squad is proving rather elusive. Their received accuracy bonus. The pack has also been allowed to reach Vet 3 because so many vehicles just sit idle in its arc of fire, vetting it right up. So that's not good. Jackson's getting some repairs over here. Meanwhile, Soviet push for the center once more. Shock troops forcing those Vet 5 Volksgrenadiers away, along with a lucky shot from the mortar. The mortar actually has 41 kills. Wow, that's a bit of an unsung hero this game. So it has definitely been doing its job, and its job is not really to destroy the Axis fortified positions, but more to bleed them. And it's more of a weapon of attrition than anything.
Support is here. Sherman ready.
Forcing the Axis to spend a lot of resources to maintain their hold on territory. And it looks like the Allies are doing a pretty good job of outproducing their opponents. Lemon's army still rather small, though he does have the King Tiger on the field. Fuzzy's army, not bad, but his economy, of course, is destroyed by the fact that he brought in a Tiger Ace. His income will be grievously hampered for probably the remainder of the game, unless he just throws it away, which I doubt he intends to do. We actually have a new Schwer Panzer headquarters going up. That's very interesting. I don't know what motivates that decision. Possibly Lemon is thinking of going for a Panther. Definitely going to help against IS-2s. I think that's probably what it is, if I had to guess, but maybe going for a Sturm Tiger. I doubt it. I'm almost certain he's going for a Panther. Probably also wants to continue calling in Obersoldat, and I think that's probably what he's intending, since he doesn't have any doctrinal elite infantry, and he also doesn't, I assume, want to keep spamming Volksgrenadiers or MG34s. So I guess that's what he's going to do. We actually see volley fire being used. Nice dodge of that grenade by the pack. Keeping a highly vetted stolen pack is very important as the Allies. It's one of the best ways to fend off heavy Axis tanks. Of course, having an IS-2 is very nice. Jackson's also very nice. Jackson taking nice shots all the way across the lake. Very nice. And this armor is going to be moving into a very fortified line. 1 pack, 2 Jacksons, and an IS-2 in the front. Should be very difficult to punch through just with brute force. The King Tiger is going to be forced to pull back. Oh, nice shot from that Jackson there. Although, ooh, wow, the pack and the other Jackson just destroyed that Panzer IV. It just got a little bit too exposed. Jackson takes way too much damage, though, from that Vet 3 pack. They really need to destroy that, possibly with an incendiary barrage. Or some other form of indirect fire, artillery, or something, I don't know. The gun is almost fully repaired, so trying to rely purely on an IS-2 to get a lucky shot is probably not very effective at this point. Mortar actually sounds like it's going to be firing on it. Not firing on the pack though, it is firing somewhere back here. Firing where the pack used to be. They probably can't see it in the fog. Shock troops continuing to harass the middle. We also have a nice use of these American infantry to harass the map while this big Axis push is going on up here in the north. The perfect opportunity for Omni to take control of the south area of the map, but he needs to keep the squads moving. Remember to shift click your capping orders. Very important when you have a micro-intensive battle going on up here in the north with two Jacksons that you have to basically constantly babysit. Oh geez, target weak point just hit that Jackson. There's no way it's going to survive. There it goes. And the other Jackson is getting dangerously exposed. What is he thinking? Pull back. Oh geez, you should never even enter the arc of fire with a Jackson. It's never a good idea to just dart in and tank a couple hits and then try and dart back out. It's just doomed to fail from the start. 44 kills on that mortar now. Just keeps racking them up. Very impressive repairs going up here. We will see that he is Vet 3 now, which is going to give him faster repair. He also has a support package, so we can see that that King Tiger is going to be thrown back to full health incredibly quickly. That's very nice to see. Conscripts just get obliterated as soon as they come close. Not going to be very effective as screening infantry anymore. Oh geez, don't lose that. Oh god, Omni, what happened? I'm not sure what he was paying attention to. He's not really doing anything. Another Jackson being called in. As the King Tiger vets up, it's going to be harder and harder to destroy. Shock troops doing a pretty good job of holding on to the center, though. As long as no tanks push across this area, the Axis infantry are going to find it difficult to crack through that tough Soviet infantry. We actually have a Sherman hitting the field as well, so that should be pretty good at pushing away lone infantry squads. Grenade goes out, nice one there, but we already have Obers set up in the south as well, so those paratroopers aren't really going to stand a chance and they're forced away. Because they're Vet 5, they're super durable, so not much chance of a squad wipe if they're at full health. Sherman does force away the Panzerschreck squad there. Obers also continuing to move up. Looks like there was another engagement up here. The King Tiger's at half health. It looks like it ran into an AT gun, two AT guns. I guess just AT guns. I think it just ran into those AT guns. Nice use of the AT gun camo. I don't see that ability used that often.
Orders complete.
And that's a doctrinal ability that is part of shock rifle tactics. That's not like a standard ability the AT gun has. So I think it's pretty frequent that when you do have access to it, you just forget about it. And I don't think it's that good anyway because of how incredibly slow you move while it's active. Tiger Ace is actually moving down toward the south. Those rifles were actually unusually effective against those Obersoldaten. Tiger Ace bursts through, and tree goes flying in a rather amusing fashion, and the rifles will be forced away. We actually have a P-47 getting called in up here in the north. Very nice series of hits on that Tiger Ace, brought down to half health again. And the IS-2 is going to be moving up. Taking pretty heavy damage on its approach. Another great series of rockets. Oh, plane crashes. Oh my goodness, I think that almost hit the IS-2. It didn't though. I think it missed. If that had hit the IS-2, it would certainly be destroyed. But it did take heavy damage from that. It's still Vet 3 pack over there that they really need to decrew, if at all possible. And then that P-47 completely misses its target there. And this is the edge of the P-47 attack zone, so half-track will be driving clear of that, and the King Tiger will be getting repaired. The P-47 is a very nice tool for denying an area to the Axis armor for a pretty long time, but it's best if you can try to follow it up with some sort of push while the Axis armor is forced to sit back and repair, just kind of sitting here. Granted, they do have victory point control, but they probably don't want the game to run for another 40 minutes, which it probably, or 20 minutes or so, which it probably will if they just sit on 2 victory points. That being said, even the Allies are pretty capable of setting up a tough defensive position, especially with a IS-2 being used as a heavy anti-infantry platform. It can get pretty good shots versus infantry occasionally, although it tends to miss a lot as well. We actually have artillery getting called in here. So an incendiary strike doesn't really hit much. Actually, the edge of the barrage kind of gets those Obersoldaten, and they'll be forced to make a retreat.
Has arrived on the battlefield.
We actually have a Stuka being produced by Lemon. Very interesting choice. I thought he was going to go for a Panther, but I guess he's only producing Obersoldaten from this HQ. And he must have produced another mechanized regiment at headquarters as well. Yes, he did, right here. So he's purchased, I think, 5 base buildings this game, which is not cheap. And then a King Tiger and a Stuka, so that just goes to show how long this game is run. Soviet, on the other hand, has produced 2 IS-2s, and Omni currently has 2 Jacksons. I think he's lost at least 1, 2, probably more Jacksons. He's lost plenty of Jacksons, so he's had a lot of armor called in as well. And he's actually got a Vet 2 crew in the Sherman. Interesting to see him not trade that out into a Jackson. I think that's usually a calculated decision. If you need stronger anti-infantry, you throw the higher vet crew in the Jackson, and if you need stronger anti-tank, you throw the higher vet crew in the Jackson. I think I just said Jackson twice, but you probably know what I meant. Stuka firing on the church, boom, one-shotted, there goes that machine gun. Nicely angled to hit the Zis, but unfortunately with its high vet bonuses, oh jeez. It survived the barrage, but the American immediately counterattacks, moving this Jackson up to take a shot from the south and his other Jackson to take a shot from the north, and the Stuka gets completely destroyed before it can even move. At the end of that barrage, of course, then he kind of, I don't know what that little maneuver was. The pack kind of messed with his pathing a little bit, I think, and his Jackson gets abandoned. We also have an absurdly aggressive push from the flank here, and his pathing continues to be a little bit goofy. What is he doing? Oh, takes a nice shot on the Tiger Ace from the rear, popping smoke, but because of the angle of attack, that's not going to do much. Shot bounces, now the Jackson is going to be forced to make its escape. Oh, that shot came really close. Ooh, nice shot at max range from that Jackson. If he tries to peek around the side one more time, he may be able to destroy that Tiger Ace. No. We do have an allied plane coming in, but it looks like it was not able to track the Tiger Ace in time. And instead it's going to fire at the King Tiger, which is not going to accomplish much of anything. And pretty much all Axis tanks will get clear of the attack zone. Oh, it looks like we may see a chase from Sorceleur. It looks like Lemon's gonna have to rotate around here. First IS-2 shot hits the ground. King Tiger shot also hits the ground. Moving into closer range. Oh, crew shocked. Very nice. Circling around behind. The flanks are protected, but a nice incendiary strike is going to at least force those folks to reposition. The vetted IS-2 shot misses. Wow, that crew shock lasts forever. Look at that. Pack, however, still vet 3 does make it into this engagement. Crew shocked again. And target weak point also from the Tiger Ace causes that IS-2 to meet with an early demise, and I think that he knows. Oh my goodness! Oh no! Oh my goodness! The plane crash just destroyed the IS-2 with help from this pack. And this Vet 3 pack has just done an insane amount of damage. I think that's probably going to get MVP. They really need to just get that off the field. Cat Warfers in a sort of awkward position. Will probably be fine though, as that Sherman tank is being forced back. Wow. I can't believe how frequently the P-47s have landed within like 15 feet of an IS-2 this game. That's twice. Twice in one game. I think that Vet 2 IS-2 would have gotten away if that hadn't happened, so that's a huge loss. That really sucks for the Allies. I really feel bad for Sorceleur right now, but the Allies still have a pretty good map advantage, and the American has 3 Jacksons, which is a pretty good deterrent to the Axis armor. And Fuzzy's economy has just been terrible for this entire time. He doesn't really have the ability to produce much. Making a new pack, it looks like. He's had such success with this one. Certainly don't blame him. I can't believe that the Allies haven't made more of an attempt to destroy that. One of the best counters to a vetted pack is Thompson's. Throwing your Thompson paratroopers at that is a really good way to clear it. Well, so much for that, Jackson. Tiger Ace basically just drove straight towards it until it was dead. I think that may have been slightly poor micro on the US player's part, though. I didn't have a very good camera angle on the engagement. Oh, nice shot from the IS-2 there. That's a Vet 5 over squad as well, so that's taking heavy damage. Here comes a pretty big push from the Axis. We do have the Tiger Ace and the King Tiger moving up into the center. They're pretty ready. They do have an IS-2, an AT gun, and a Jackson. Jackson farting around on a strategic point as usual. Cruise shock from the IS-2 again. Lemon not getting very lucky with these constant cruise shocks. And he's going to blitz back to safety. I don't think that he was quite expecting such a heavy AT presence. Heavy push from that Sherman straight towards this AT weaponry. The Raketen and the pack are setting up. The Raketen shot misses, fortunately. It looks like the Sherman will get clear. And here comes the incendiary barrage. Unfortunately, I landed a little short. The pack will not be taking much damage. Lemon actually producing another Stuka. So that is 2 Stukas being produced. He's quite intent on clearing these allied team weapons, and hopefully he'll be a little bit less aggressive with it this time, a little more careful, and not lose it instantly after firing one barrage. Here it comes, probably firing on these 2 AT guns. Yep. And they are destroyed.
Pioneers ready for assignment.
They're both completely destroyed, and that just goes to show the importance of keeping your team weapons repaired. It's not enough to keep them reinforced, you have to repair them. So, see? Look at this. 1 Stuka barrage and this is dead, no matter what. You need to get your rear echelons. Plus, the American has a constant supply of things that can repair. Their rear echelon troops can repair, their vehicle crews can repair. Depending on your doctrine, you may also have assault engineers that can repair. So you have lots of stuff that can repair, and everything that you can repair with is either free or cheap. So no excuse for not keeping your team weapons repaired in the United States, I think. It's really important. Wow, those oversold are just shredding that squad. Yep, there's the MG retreat bug. You see that at least 100 times every game. I'm sure it's happened more than once this game. I just haven't really commented on it. Oversold on 46 kills. By comparison, the Soviet mortar has 52, so a lot of units are just really performing really nicely in this battle. Overs are doing very nice. Fortunately, I'm not all that impressed with Omni's use of paratroopers, though. He did have a Thompson squad at some point, but I guess it's dead.
Looks like we're going in.
He hasn't really purchased many upgrades for his paratroopers. Yeah, he's really not getting that much mileage out of them this game. This push for the center was just too much for the Allies to handle at this point, it seems. P-47 will be getting called into the center. I think this is the Allies' chance to push. Definitely need to push. While that Axis armor is being forced to reposition, they need to push with infantry and take out the packs and stuff. And they haven't got that much lead, which they can push. Looks like the P-47s chose the Tiger Ace to fire on there. But it'll get repaired in no time. Another strike coming in. Plane actually gets shot down there, and its 3 shots didn't really connect either. More being fired. Tiger Ace taking pretty respectable damage here, and this is the perfect opportunity for infantry to charge these team weapons. But they're just not following up on it. You absolutely have to follow up on your P-47 rocket strafe. You can't. It's not really a fire and forget ability, because it's only going to last so long, and you'll be able to take advantage of it afterward. Now armor can just move right back up, and then what have you really accomplished? Some pretty good mortars and HE rounds there. I think that was the final rocket strafe, so that's pretty much all the benefit they're going to get out of that ability, and they need to make a push for that central victory point now. Some harassment on the south wouldn't be a bad idea either. Still not moving the Vet 3 crew into a Jackson. I think that's really important to do once you have a Tiger Ace and a King Tiger to contend with. If we take a look, as usual, lots of Pioneers are being produced. That's very typical for a Tiger Ace player, because the only thing they really feel that they can afford after they bring the Tiger Ace out is just IOs to repair. Fortunately, he's done a really nice job of keeping that 3-pack alive. And he's kept his vetted Grenadiers alive as well. Once you lose full squads, you're pretty much screwed. So, unit preservation is absolutely critical when you go Tiger Ace. So well played by Fuzzy, keeping those vetted troops alive. This Tiger Ace has actually not had that much of an impact. In fact, neither has the King Tiger, really. If you think about it, only 21 kills on the King Tiger and only 26 on the Tiger. They're really there to tank the damage more than they are to deal it, and it looks like the heavy damage dealers are the Obersoldaten and the Grenadiers. At least this Grenadier squad has 30 kills, this one 11. Tiger Ace making a bit of a push for the middle, being a little bit timid about it though. Really only trying to push so far as is necessary to try and capture the point. We do have a smoke barrage being fired on the center by the mortar. I think that's the mortar. I'm not sure why he did that. I don't know where else that would have come from. AT gun gets cleared. Jackson taking heavy damage. This M20 has also been abandoned for a while. If you remember, Jackson got abandoned here, and I believe he exchanged the crew with the utility car crew, and he hasn't produced any rear echelon troops to replace it. US players a little bit clumped, and these paratroopers can't do much without upgrades. Now, incendiary strike being called on the center, but it falls short again, and the Obersoldaten will just crawl to safety. The Axis maintain their hold on the central point. Shock troops are making a push for the southern victory point though, so that will give the Allies control of the clock once again. The Axis actually only has 65 points remaining, so it's going to become very important that they make a push either for the top or try to get a firmer grasp on the south. Stuka barrage probably aimed like this. Yep, there it goes. Not actually as devastating as it could have been. This AT gun, I was expecting it to be destroyed, but I guess it was sort of far from the rocket. The AOE wasn't sufficient to destroy it. Oh jeez. That one gets destroyed by the KT. Armor trying to do what it can. Jackson shots at long range, I think, are about a 50-50 chance of penetrating the King Tiger. Off the top of my head, I'm not really sure it's something like that, though. Once it starts vetting up, it's not as bad though. And he was using armor-piercing rounds. It looks like IS-2 desperately in need of repairs. The American vehicle crews are quite useful for repairing Soviet armor. That's something that you can keep in mind if you have a few tanks nearby that can be repairing. With the vehicle crew, your injured Soviet tanks, that's really something that you should probably be doing to try and get back in the fight as soon as possible. You do have the Shermans moving over here to destroy this mechanized regiment headquarters. That doesn't really do anything. I guess if Lemon has fuel transfer active, he actually does have munitions transfer active, so I guess that's useful. It sort of stems the tide of munitions. Of course, he already almost has 300, and I believe once he hits, I'm pretty sure, almost certain in fact, that once he hits 300 he intends to use zeroing artillery in this zone to force all of the Allied armory even further back. Probably open up the way for a push towards the north area of the map. And he does have 300 munitions, so he has access to that ability now. Heavy fire going in on this IS-2. It's taking some damage. Looks like there's quite a strong push going in on the Tiger Ace. It's actually sort of unsupported up here, but I think the positioning could have been a little bit better. And we also have zeroing already getting called in, and there's a kind of an unfortunate traffic jam happening as they're both tripping over each other trying to get through this choke point. Oh geez, it's terrible. They're both it's just a mess, and the zeroing artillery just obliterates them. Oh geez. Meanwhile, this one has a damaged engine because it was trying to move up and it exposed its rear armor. Oh no. What a horrible, horrible engagement for the Allies. They could not have possibly played that worse. Awful coordination, just falling over each other inside of a zeroing artillery. That is devastating. One IS-2 destroyed, the other one severely damaged. One Jackson destroyed, the other one at about 70% health. That's Sherman also being forced back for repairs. And now the Axis have pulled firmly ahead with really not even that close to destroying the Tiger Ace in exchange. Not even really that close at all. That was a poor judgment call, I think. Of course, it can be hard to notice zeroing artillery in the heat of the moment. You don't get that much indication that it's happening. Well, actually, yes you do. It drops the red smoke. I don't know. I'm thinking of assault artillery where the sector just turns red, but I really think that the Allies messed up here. I don't know if it's even possible for them to come back now. They had a pretty good advantage earlier, but they kind of, once that King Tiger hit the field and the Tiger Ace at the same time, it just... We're having a lot of trouble countering. In fact, you know what? It's the Tiger Ace and King Tiger are not actually where the Allies have had trouble countering this game. It's the packs. The packs have just been devastating. I think that you hear complaints about the King Tiger and the Tiger Ace things more frequently because they're sort of the center of attention, the star of the show. But really, it's all about context, and the King Tiger and Tiger Ace are not that impressive until they're supported by packs. Packs are really just the centerpiece of the Axis AT, I think. With their incredible rate of fire and penetration against Allied medium armor, they make any attempt to charge in pointless, really. Instant death. Just no chance. Everything the MUS has will die in 3 shots. Or less, depending on what the gun is. We actually do have an Allied AT gun being fielded here. Pretty much everything the Allies have now is just futile desperation. This lone AT gun just can't do anything. Shots just go blink blink. It's Bet 3 King Tiger. Short range. Has no chance. It's the Tiger Ace. Stuka Barrage actually failed to clear that gun. That's interesting. We also, of course, have a Pack 43 set up here, making any charge by Allied armor just about impossible, denying pretty much this entire area. In fact, if I were the Allies at this point, I would just rush the Axis base, because it's probably the most lightly defended area on the map, and just try and go for an annihilation victory, because attacking this is, with the tanks anyway, is pretty much impossible. But of course, since they're trying to focus on the victory points, they've been throwing their tanks towards the center for the last 20 minutes, and finally it was just too much. Everything the Allies had was destroyed. Well, I think it was a really good game. I think everybody played pretty well. It's unfortunate that the Allies were not able to secure their advantage. I think they made a lot of critical mistakes that lost them this game. In particular, I think they never really followed up on their P-47 strikes. P-47 is the best way, I think, that the Allies have to force Axis armor off the map and open up the way for your infantry. For example, all of this is just easy pickings for Thompson paratroopers and shock troops if there are no tanks nearby. So you just call in a P-47, wait for the tanks to get clear of the zone, and then roll over everything with your elite assault infantry. But that being said, the Allies also suffered some really unlucky breaks with some plane crashes, and also probably not really realizing where the Pac-43 was when it first hit the field, getting some really good kills, and also just the devastating firepower of the Ost-Tier packs make things very difficult for the Allied tanks. So I think it was a lot of combined factors. Either way, it was a really close game, really fun game to watch, fun game to cast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, you can always send me a replay of your own, and I'm happy to do a cast for you. Otherwise, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed.